Another episode of the Clock Enders podcast. We have myself, Reginald Dino. We have Life of the Party, and welcome back to a familiar face. Gooner Tek is going to join us for the recap of the Leicester City Arsenal game. Tek, how you been, man?
Good. Back like Ben White in the lineup.
Yeah, we were giving you the wedding shout outs last week. I was telling anywhere that I could like post and like anyone who knew you, I'm like, yo, they're not gonna let us down on Tek's wedding day. Okay. So so we appreciate the blessings from last week, Tek. He sprinkled a little dust on there.
Well, as Edson said, congratulations, Tek, on the nuptials and everything like that.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
No problem. So we're here to recap the Leicester City Arsenal game, which just finished about 10 minutes ago. 1-0 to the Arsenal. I mean, guys, it's a great way to start the weekend as usual. I mean, with a win from the Arsenal. City plays next. I believe at 12:30 they're playing Bournemouth. I don't know where it is. Right now, as we stand right now, 5 points ahead of them with the game in hand. I always love that game in hand. But we're not going to look too far forward. I know we play on Wednesday against Everton as well, so we're not going to look too far forward. We'll recap this game right now. Guys, the lineup. We saw Trossard start. We've been calling it for weeks. Did he live up to it?
Yeah, in a word, yes.
Yes.
Yes, he did. Not just the disallowed goal, but the piece of skill that was the decisive play in the game. You know what I mean? The little step over to open up the defender, and then nutmeg to Martinelli to tuck it away in the corner. That's lovely stuff. That's 24 million right there. I'd have paid 24 million just for that one play alone. And I wasn't sure how he was going to operate down the middle, to be honest with you. But he was involved in the play. He was setting guys up. He was industrious, maybe not as hard pressing at the top there, but outside of that, he gave us everything. And like I said, he put one away when he got his chance, even though it was offside also. I shouldn't say offside. Ben White, the hold on the goalie.
I saw that, and it was a foul.
Yeah,
I have to say it was a foul.
Yeah.
It was. So that it was, but the way that they saw it, VAR saw it, they had to be looking at every angle in order to chalk it off, and that's what kind of upsets me.
Put it this way: if that was called against us, there's no way they're catching that.
No chance.
No chance.
I don't even think they look at it. No chance. But
VAR, it's I don't know. We seem to be talking about VAR every single week, right? Like Saka had that Suter, or the Australian guy on Leicester, had that slight push on Saka right maybe a minute or two after that call.
That's right.
And we don't get anything there. So it's just like it's getting frustrating, annoying. I'm sick of talking about VAR, to be honest. Just I don't know, let us play the game. But back to your question, Reg, I think Trossard, definitely consideration for man of the match today, even though he only played 70 minutes. Eddie's got to watch out, man. I think he's got some competition in the role now. He's played that position at Brighton too, so I didn't have any hesitation that he couldn't do anything there. But yeah, he looked good. He was coming back on the ball. He was putting some pressure on their front line, or on their back line. That's a solid performance, and I'm gonna say he's likely gonna start next week against Everton midweek too.
Yeah, I saw nothing in that performance that says he needs to be replaced. Martinelli, the goal scorer, he's not going anywhere, and we know Saka's not going anywhere.
Right.
So it's just more pressure on Nketiah to keep that spot, because there's still that guy Gabriel Jesus that still has to come back, and unfortunately if he's healthy, he starts in front of Nketiah. So I don't know, man. He's gonna have to pull up his socks, I think. And I'm not saying anything bad about him. I'm just saying he needs to. If he's gonna play that striker role, he's got to be dangerous. In the past couple of games, he hasn't been dangerous.
No, competition's good though. I think for him especially. I can't remember when it was, but he's had some spells off the bench where he was potting goals left, right, and center. So, maybe Arteta's just looking for some, a fresh lineup, give him fresh legs once the defenders are a bit off in the second half. And we'll see him pull up his phone calls, right? So, like, I like it. I love it. I don't know. It's hard not to like this team. It's hard to find faults. We just need to find new ways to score, and today we did that, right? With a new lineup. So, it's I don't know. It's hard to say something negative about this team right now.
So at some point we thought we were going to see this, and this is the last thing we'll talk about before we get into the player ratings. But I thought we would see this at some point, and we did in the last 10 minutes, where we had all three of our defensive midfielders on the field at the same time. Is that something going forward that we think we're going to see a little bit more of now that all three are healthy? Odegaard seems to get subbed at the same time every game, and we usually put on maybe Vieira or another defender to hold on to the lead. But are we going to see all three of our defensive midfielders on at the same time going forward? Do you think that's a thing that we might see a lot of?
I'm not so certain. Strangely enough, this is the first time that we saw Partey and Jorginho together, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
So that was a little weird, but I think that the closing lineup will probably look more like Xhaka coming off in that situation, I think, still. And then maybe the Rob Holding or the Kieran Tierney's, as we saw Tomiyasu came on today, in more of a closer role. I'm guessing, but I mean, that's the way that it kind of played out today. And it looked fine, to be honest with you. It looked really secure. You see Thomas Partey in on the counter playing right wing. I think it was. Well, I mean, like getting out on the right wing, seeing him in places that we're not used to exactly seeing him. I mean, Mikel Arteta has tactics coming out the yin yang. Literally, it's dripping from every pore. And you can see today, Leicester barely got a sniff. We were really, let's say. I mean, the midfield was maybe a little loose at times, but at the back today, oh my gosh! And we'll get to the player ratings. And you said that there's a contender for man of the match in Trossard. Yeah, there might be one or two other contenders, but my man of the match comes from the back line, and that's a little foreshadowing. So,
yeah, like this is our first clean sheet in a while, right? Since the Derby, I think. In an away game too, right? So that's
both of our center backs were good, but one was immense.
Yeah. Saliba was a force today. Gabriel was a force today. Zinchenko.
I'll jump right to it. My man of the match, Gabriel, outstanding. Early on, there was somebody came up on him in the box. Really big tackle there. Comes across. I think there was like a header clear. Second half when they were coming in on net, and he came across.
Yes.
I mean, bro, darting balls in the top, a menace in the box on set pieces.
Well, he played Trossard in for the goal, right? He played that ball to Trossard, right?
Thank you. Bro, that was a sick performance. Performance. He had everything but a goal today. You know what I mean? In terms of like a top-notch center back performance, incredible.
Is it any coincidence that Gabriel has like stepped up a level since we signed our second left center back as backup?
That's a good call, actually. Funny enough, yeah, there was nobody behind him before, and now he's like, it's like now he's not letting anybody get in there and give him rest. It's like somebody's on his feet now, and you're right. I thought it was more like after the World Cup. He took an uptick. Saliba maybe a step backwards or a half a step down, if you will. But you're right. Competition coming into the team kind of coincides with the way that his form has gone. Good point.
And Jorginho too, though, right? Like Jorginho's been.
Oh God, yes.
These past few games, I don't know. You feel a lot more comfortable with him back there than Partey at times, right?
I get it. The energy. The energy is what I'm getting from Jorginho. The energy, man. Like his last 3 or 4 performances has just been consistently energetic, like tireless almost, And again, the long passes that he's picking out sent Saka in one time. I mean, dude, again, I don't know. Our transfer window was what? How many million? Under 30?
Yeah.
Under 30 we got these two for?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
You know what I
something.
mean? Or under 40, I should say. My math is awful.
Eddie Arteta, Josh Kroenke, Stan Kroenke, they deserve a big hand for what they've done in the and the scouts too. Scouting guys that come in and play.
Whole team.
So, I want to ask two things before we get into. I know I said we're getting into player ratings, but I want to ask two things.
We got time.
We'll probably table one of the questions for another podcast. But you mentioned Kieran Tierney. Can't really do what Zinchenko does. But we have a guy on loan in France, Nuno Tavares, that's scoring 6 goals from the left back position. So my question, Nuno Tavares comes back next year. He mentioned in the papers that, he's coming back to Arsenal. He's coming back. Do we think every time this player goes on loan in France, he comes back and he balls out? Well, we own Saliba, right? So we also have your buddy Balogun there as well, doing big things there. So they're both going to come back in. Do we think Kieran Tierney is now expendable? That we have because we have Nuno Tavares coming back to play that role. That's probably similar to what Mikel Arteta wants from his left back.
I think that if we keep Tomiyasu also, who is kind of our defensive fixer at left back at times when we really need it, like when we play a Salah, something like that. I think then yes, Tierney becomes expendable. We can afford to let him go at that point. Tierney's been a great servant, and it's so crazy that we're saying this, 2 years on from him being our best defender and maybe our best player, period.
It's going to be captain.
Yeah. Oh, well, we all had him slotted in as captain. So thank God Mikel Arteta knew better. Kieran Tierney, he can go 30 million, 35 million, whatever they're talking about. That's good money for Kieran Tierney.
Yeah.
It's tough, right? I don't know. My heart says no.
If there's somebody that, he's one of the guys who I think deserves to play Champions League football at the Emirates after the, whatever kind of year that we had. Hopefully, he'll be hoisting a trophy as well, which would make that, kind of feel like, okay, not so significant that he's not there for it. But I think that he's definitely one of, the top 2 or 3 guys that I'd be happy to see play Champions League in an Arsenal jersey at the Emirates again next year.
Yeah. I'm knocking on wood here, but like one injury and that changes the question a lot, right?
Well, this year,
let's hope everyone is healthy. But yeah, if you think about all the people we have, how well Nuno's doing, the way Arteta plays and the way we're playing now, I see him fitting more in this formation and lineup more so than Tierney. But
for sure,
again, we have so many competitions to play in. Rotation is good, competition is good. I'm sure 30 million would be good for another signing in another area of the pitch, but yeah, my heart says no. I love the guy. He's stuck with us through the hard times, the past few years. He's played really well for us, but he's gone through his fair share of injuries too. So yeah, I think the short answer is yes, but it would be a tough person to lose, I think.
And real quick on Tavares, I think I maybe said this last week, if not maybe said it in the chat, but after seeing how Arteta wants his left back to play, you know what I mean? And how complicated it is for a 20-year-old just coming in, you know what I mean? Like, doesn't barely even know the language, you know what I'm saying? And he comes into our defense and, sometimes it was a shambles. Sometimes he looked like Ballon d'Or, you know what I'm saying? But apologies to him. I did not know how complicated it. I did not know how big the task was. You know what I'm saying? To learn the system, to fit in, to slot in properly. You know, Zinchenko can do it because he's been playing it for Pep. Okay, and it's almost his actual natural position on the pitch. You know what I mean? Right. He's kind of tailor-made for it, and I can see how it would take, you know, any player, much less a 20-year-old player who doesn't know the language, some time to get it. You know what I mean? As it has taken Tierney, you know what I mean, the entire time that he's here, and he's still not gotten it. So
it's not to say that Nuno can't play farther up the pitch for us too, right? Like, absolutely. He doesn't have to play that left back role.
We went through the players that we have on offense coming up next year, and we're jammed packed there.
Yeah,
there's about 12 offensive players we have that can be in form at any given time. So who are you going to play when you only have 3 of those positions available? I guess that's why Arteta gets the big bucks. But let me ask you a follow-up question. Oh, sorry, Tech, did you want to add something else?
There's a good chance that Arteta pushes out Nuno on loan again next year. Like, just thinking about Saliba and how long it took him to get back into our lineup.
Yeah,
it could be something that Arteta is considering, just based on the amount of players, just like you said, we have at the moment, right? So I don't know. I have full faith in Arteta, so whatever he decides, I'm good with. But it's a good problem to have.
Do you think, would you entertain possibly changing Kieran Tierney's position in order to keep him in the team? I know he can play to the left side of the center too, but I know we have Kiwar and Gabriel now. So would we entertain possibly moving him into the center of the midfield, or center of the defense?
Center of defense, I do not see him getting by Kiwior, to be honest with you, like in terms of, you know, backing up Gabriel. He's definitely not getting back behind or in front of Gabriel. But then, Kiwior, from all reports and from what everyone's saying, is a dog. He's a beast. We saw, you know, I've YouTubed him to death and saw him against Messi and Argentina and everyone else. You know, his pedigree can't be questioned, you know, so you don't buy that player and then shift Tierney over to to anywhere other than outside of left back. I don't think we're going to improve the midfield next year. We've already got Elneny coming back. We've got Jorginho, Xhaka, Partey. You know, at least we're looking at one addition. I don't think there'll be any room for Tierney in there, to be honest with you. You know, that's why you do this. You develop the squad, and then you can turn around and sell a Kieran Tierney still at 26 years old for 30-odd million. You know what I mean?
I think Celtic would take him back in a heartbeat, but anyway.
Yeah. Even it goes back to what we were saying about Martinez on United, right? Does he have the size? Does he have the stature to play that role for us? I don't know.
I know. He's one of those guys you hate playing against him, but I would take him on our team all day, every day. I just like how he does things on purpose that looks like it's an accident, and we all know that it's not an accident.
Oh, Martinez? Oh gosh, yes.
His nickname was the Butcher. I love it.
Yeah,
but again,
like I said, our interest in him in the summer tells me that our scouting system is doing the job. You know what I mean? We don't have to get everyone, you know, but the ones that we are hot on the trail of, when they pan out, it just means positive things for us. It means that we're identifying the right players.
But the good thing about that is that they have a plan B, because when we don't get that guy, we get someone else, and it's just like, whoa, you know what I mean? So
as Xhaka said, plan B all the way down to Z.
Perfect. Okay, boys, let's get into the player ratings of today's game. 1-0 to Arsenal at the King Power. We have we'll start at the back as usual. We'll start at the back with Ramsdale. We'll start with Tech. Out of 10, what are we giving the performance Ramsdale put in today?
He didn't have much to do today. He had one shot. I think Dewsbury Hall had that one shot that tested him.
He dove because he was so bored. It wasn't even on net.
Yeah, and he looked like he had good coverage there. He's playing the ball well. I think all around solid performance by Ramsdale. So yeah, no complaints about his role today. I'd give him a solid 8. I'd say.
Edson?
8 feels high, but then we're back in the business of delivering clean sheets, and his distribution was actually very sharp today. I feel like it was the right speed too. He got us moving quickly with his distribution. So although an 8 sounds high, like again, back to clean sheet, did nothing wrong, like literally nothing wrong. Maybe I'll give him a 7 just because he wasn't busy. You know what I mean? Like they literally gave him nothing to do. So but you know, it's the strongest 7 I can give.
I'm going to lean towards Tech, and I'm going to give him an 8 as well. Distribution was good. Didn't have much to do, but I mean, it's not his fault. So I'm going to give him an 8 as well.
The one thing he didn't do today, I don't know if you guys caught this. I can't remember the last time we played Leicester, but the fans were giving it to him in the back end, and he was giving it back. He kept his mouth quiet today for the most part. So I'm surprised to see that.
Last time he opened his mouth, he got kicked in the back by a fan. So
that's true.
Maybe he's. I don't want to get involved with any one of these fans anymore because it only takes one, right? So
that's right. That's right.
We'll go to the left-sided left back who pops up on the right side, who pops up in the midfield, who's at the edge of the 18-yard box for 70 minutes of the game. We'll deal with Zinchenko. We'll start with Edson.
Zinchenko was top-notch today in the captain's armband. Fantastic effort. You know, again, all energy. You know, again, you'd see him pop up on the right here and there. You know, really like a proper midfield performance. But then a couple times you'd see it pop up on the wing, and he'd be playing like actual left wing too. Really solid defensively. Nothing happened down his side of the field, basically. I don't know. I'm going to give that a 9 to me, to be honest with you. That's a captain's performance the day that he rocks the armband for the Ukraine. I thought that was a classy touch, obviously, by Arsenal, but we've been all class since Arteta and Edu got here, basically. So,
for sure. Zach, what are you giving Zinchenko?
That armband looked good on him. I'm not going to take it away from Odegaard, but like, I don't know. I saw it right after the coin toss when he came running into the circle. He was leading the talk, the pregame talk of the players, and his performance, to exactly what Edson said, it was solid. He's everywhere on the pitch. He's the guy starting our movement up the field. Right after Trossard scored, he was the first guy celebrating with him, and I think he was the first guy to talk to him after it was disallowed too. So he's been a solid addition to the team, our engine pretty much. So I think a 9 is fair, and I'd probably give him that rating as well. Actually,
well, I'm giving him a 9 as well. Captain's performance. We'll get into Odegaard's performance later on in this, but that's what you expect your captain to do. I know when Tomiyasu made that mistake against Manchester City, that Odegaard was the first person to tap him on his cheek, keep your head up. But what I saw today from Zinchenko, that's a captain's performance today. Was at the heart of all the moves. I mean, didn't really put a foot wrong for me today, so I give him a 9 as well. We go to the right-sided center back in Saliba. I'll start. I'll give him an 8. Again, solid as can be. A Saliba 8 might be a little bit too low for him, but again, snuffed out everything. Didn't put a foot wrong today. Great understanding and great partnership with Gabriel as well. I mean that speaks volumes too. Was able to marshal and hold his own one-on-one as well. So I'm giving him an 8. Edson.
I think an 8 is fair. I think that's the exact rating. Now I will say again, this game. He had a few more dribbles forward. That's what I noticed in his play. He had a few more opportunities to dribble forward. You could see Jorginho is just waving him into play, waving him into space. Eat that up. I'll play off of you. Don't worry about it. You could see like the attack looked very like organized today. You know what I mean? Like maybe there wasn't so much play in the box and not so much, like final product to kind of get in on goal. But I love the way that we looked. We're coming in waves. You know what I mean? Everyone's sort of like well spread out, well positioned. And then it's like, and then at that point you have guys changing. You know what I mean? Like, Martinelli kind of makes his way into the middle. Meanwhile, Trossard, obviously, he would play the striker that way, where he's kind of false nining it here, or like going out to his wing, exchanging with Martinelli. For a first time out, for a first time seeing it on display, it looked good to me. And I want more of that. I want more of that. So, but yes, back to Saliba. Just it's the partnership again. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna have this for how many years?
Well, Saliba's next to sign, right? So
next to come. That's right. Yeah. Put that pen to paper. Sign the thing. Imagine how much better he'll be playing after it's signed and settled too. So, another man's performance from this youth.
Tek, what are you giving Saliba?
So I usually get nervous when we're playing Leicester and I see Jamie Vardy coming in off the bench.
Yep.
Saliba is the reason why I'm not nervous anymore. Honestly, like, this guy is the Rolls Royce of defenders. Like, just like everyone says it, right? He's so calm on the ball. And yeah, like Edson was saying, you saw Jorginho sort of waving him up the right side of the field. He's giving that pass into Odegaard or Saka. So, again, he's doing everything right, it seems. And, there may have been one or two passes that, were off today. But, to have that in a game in, not really dangerous situations for us, I can't fault him for that. So I think an 8 is solid. But, I'll probably give Gabriel a bit of a higher rating when we get to him.
Well, he's next. The right-footed center back, Gabriel. Since you mentioned, you start, Tek.
Yeah. I think Gabriel, between the two guys in the back, our two center backs, he was definitely the star today. I think the phantom offside that they called on him without no real checks, and again, bringing up VAR again. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous, but he put a good head on. He's always a dangerous threat in the air. He's solid when it comes to getting balls out of our box. It's very comfortable with those two in the back, and Gabriel's a big part of that. And yeah, we were just talking about this like a few minutes ago, but it seems like his level has just elevated over the past few weeks. He's been a star in our D line for a number of games. So I think a solid 9 for Gabriel today, definitely.
I gave him a 9 as well. I think we spoke about it just before the show started, or even actually in the show. Edson mentioned it. Just the interceptions. He played the ball into Trossard for the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, for him to set up Martinelli for the goal. I mean, just another solid performance from him, but this one was a little bit above what he's been doing the rest of the previous part of the season. So I'm giving him a 9 as well.
Yeah, I mean, a 10 would involve a goal, I'd say. You know what I mean? A 10 would involve a goal. But outside of that, he did everything. You know what I mean? He did everything. And again, when it comes to like sometimes when we're in danger, it's like, who always makes the clearance? Who always makes the clearance when we're in danger? When there's a little bit of danger, Tim, bro. He's on. It's almost every time, So I mean, a nine feels almost like we're robbing him. A 9 feels like a little robbery. So I'm gonna bring his average up, and I'm gonna say 10. My man of the match.
Okay, so 10 for Gabriel.
We don't need a goal from a center back to give a 10. That's what I mean.
Well, that's the problem, and that's the problem I have with all these awards. Like even Ballon d'Or, you're giving it to offensive players. What about defenders that are top notch in their position? They don't even get a look. The last one to win was, I think, Cannavaro, and that's so long ago. And I mean, you don't need to be a defender that scores a goal in order to be looked at as a man of the match. But
Agreed.
That's a different story for a different.
Yeah, a 10 rating maybe is a different situation, but you know what? I think the 9 for Zinchenko was 100% fair, and I think that Gabriel in terms was that much better. He was the best player on the pitch today.
Yeah, for sure. Playing right back and back in the lineup, Ben White. We'll start. I'll start this one. Wasn't spectacular. Didn't make any mistakes. Didn't provide anything really going forward that I saw. So I'm just going to give him a solid 7. Was part of the back line that kept the clean sheet, but again, nothing spectacular from him. I didn't really see him overlapping Saka at all either. But this performance, I can't give any lower than a 7 or any higher than a 7 either. So I'm going to give him a 7. Edson?
Yeah, I'd say that a 7 is fair. I mean, he really did keep things calm on that side, and was always there for sort of the outlet. You're right; he didn't overlap very much, but I think that's because Zinchenko was playing a little bit further up the pitch, and you know what? He stuck to his task. You know what I mean? He stuck to his task. It was pure silence from them. You know what I mean? Harvey Barnes usually a little bit of a terror against us. Barely a peep. So you know, a solid performance from Ben White. You know, I've been balling for Tomiyasu back in the lineup, but it's felt very calm since he's gotten back. You know, and the other thing I want to say about just rewinding to Gabriel, by the way, and Ben White, you can say the same thing. Like, look at the miles we put on these guys this season.
Yeah, look
at the miles. You know, and our midfielders were saying, oh, you know, Gabriel or Martinelli, we thought he was a little bit knackered at some point. You know, we've called for Saka to get rest at whatever the case is. Gabriel Magalhaes has not rested in like 3 years, bro. Okay, he's gotten here. He's literally played every game,
every minute of every
game.
Yep.
It's absurd. It's absurd. So, you know, just we have to recognize the workhorse status as well. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are turning up, giving, you know, maybe not every week, but this week when we needed it, on the road, tough place to play, energetic performance, clean sheet. You know, a 7 I think is fair for Ben White, but the defense overall was like a 10. Again, without Partey in front of them, right? A little bit more unfamiliar having Jorginho there. Not to say that, you know, he hasn't been class. He's been class, you know, but without, you know, we're a little bit more secure when Partey's there. So excellent performance.
Did we get a rating from Tek?
Yeah, I think, like, I was considering an 8 apart from his role in the disallowed goal. So I think a 7 is fair.
Yeah.
But no, he slotted back into the lineup. He played well. He, you know,
it's amazing what competition does, eh? Amazing what it does. So it's so nice to have this, and it's been a while, right? But no, I love Ben White. He's I think it's that size, right, in our fullback positions that I really like. Even though Zinchenko is I don't really consider him a fullback, but you know, having a right back, you know, with his speed and size and his ability to you know, pretty much just stop their top players, right, from the wings, I think he did a solid job today, right? Harvey Barnes is usually their star guy against us, I think, and he didn't do much today.
No.
So I think you know, I think a 7 is fair, and you know, just you know, a tip for next game, you know, on those corners, just, you know, keep your hands to yourself, and I think we'll do fine. We don't need that stuff to get our goals in.
I'm still shocked that somebody saw that. The angle that you'd have to look at that, you'd have to look at every angle in order to find something. And I promise you, they only look at 1 or 2 for anybody else. But here they're looking at 5, 6 angles.
Yeah.
When it happened, even the commentator when it happened was just like, "What are they doing? What are they looking at?" And then when they looked at that angle, it's like, "Oh my God, how did they see that?" And it's just like, "Yeah, how did they see that?" So
yeah, no, that's like I felt like I was watching JFK there. The grassy knoll, you know what I mean? Like what are you even looking at here?
exactly. I was shocked, but again, it is a foul. But how you saw that, I don't know. We'll move to the midfield now. We'll start with Odegaard because I forget about Odegaard every single show. So this time we'll start with him, so I don't have to go back and give a rating for him. We'll start with Edson. What was the captain of our team? What was his performance today?
I can't go any higher than a 7.
Yeah,
I can't go any higher than a 7. I you know what? I expect him to maybe today to have gotten a couple of shots on net. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't like he was in positions, and a couple times I'm like, shoot. You know what I mean? Like early, especially, and you know, a couple of things are just that he normally tries or gets off and just kind of sniffed out. Just kind of a regular performance. You know what I mean? Like he didn't give us the lift that you expect, and that we've come to expect because he's given it to us all the time. But he did the yards, he ran the yards, and you know he played his position. You know, I'd expect to break a side like Leicester down a little bit easier, and I think that you know there wasn't enough service to get these shots on net, and like to get multiple shots on net or get a lot of shots on net. And that falls to him. And you know, to his defense, like I said before, you know, where he's playing without or with a new striker in front of him, somebody who likes to have the ball delivered a little bit differently, and so you know that may take a sec to kind of sort out. But in the meantime, like I said, you know, he did all the things he was supposed to. You know what I mean? Like in terms of his responsibilities, he was responsible. He wasn't caught out of position very often. He wasn't giving the ball away super bunch. It's just he wasn't doing the unlocking. So 7. And like I said, some of the you know, there should have been 1 or 2 of those counters should have been him shooting.
I'll give him a 7 as well. I think he has an issue with teams that, for lack of a better term, park the bus. Well, I think most offensive players in that position might have a problem with that as well. But the teams that play a low block always give us problems where Odegaard doesn't seem like his most creative self. So when teams are playing open and he has an open field to run into and he's got options left, options right, he's deadly. But if he doesn't have that, I don't know if he's going to be able to create anything coming off the break. So that's why I'm giving him a 7 today. Again, didn't do much wrong, but didn't do much offensively for his position either. But again, I can't give lower than a 7 for anybody today. It was a great performance from everybody. So, Tek, what are you giving Mr. Odegaard?
I'm going to be harsh on him because I know he can do a lot more. So I'm going to give him a 6. And for 2 reasons, really. One, I think Edson already mentioned, there was a counter where he sort of lost the ball on his feet, and it's so rare to see him do that. And then his free kick. We had a good free kick opportunity. Yeah. I question Odegaard taking that free kick in that position, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Like, I would like a right footer there. I don't know. I don't know what Trossard's ability is on the free kick, but I know he took a knock right before that was set up. I think he was the one that actually caused the foul. Yeah. So his free kick wasn't really dangerous either. I know what he was trying to do, obviously, but I don't know. I feel like we can get a shot on net there and really test the keeper. So, you know, for those 2 reasons, I'd say a 6. But, you know, apart from those 2 things, yeah, he sort of did his job. You know, he's the one that really opens up defenses. So, you know, we had our fair share of chances today. Maybe not caused by him exactly, but he was good. He, you know, when he did make the odd mistake, he was quick to track back and try to get the ball back. So, you know, I'll give him a 6 because again, I've seen him play in other games where, he's done so much more for us, and I know what he can do, right? So, so a 6, but it's a very encouraging 6.
Do you think fatigue is a factor for Odegaard? Could be.
It could be, right? And our bench is looking different now, right? With Smith Rowe back too. I was surprised to see Vieira not get any minutes today, to be honest, for Odegaard.
Yeah.
Like when they put in Party for that, 3 defensive midfielder mid.
Yeah.
I was a bit surprised. But it's us trying to shore up a win. I get it. But yeah, fatigue. I worry that we have, Europa League games coming in. I don't think he'll start those games, to be honest, but we'll see. We'll see what Arteta's thinking, but I think we should get some more rotation in for that attacking position.
If you're trying to win the Europa League, we have Sporting in the Europa League. You're gonna have it's not a slouch team. You're gonna have to come with your top 11 in order to beat them. So you might have to play those games. Who knows? But again, different topic, different time. We'll go to the 2 defensive midfielders. We'll start with Granit Xhaka. We'll start with Tek.
Yeah, Xhaka, I think early on in the game he had a few hiccups, but he quickly got over those, and another solid performance from him. The way him and Zinchenko, the way they play together and sort of play off the left side and open up space for Martinelli, I think, I don't know, really, really gets to what Arteta is trying to do with the way we play, right? So I think a solid performance from him. He took some hard tackles throughout the game, and he still, got up from those. Didn't complain. Like, Xhaka's attitude and behavior has changed so much since he had that talk with Arteta. So I love it. I don't know. He's almost a guaranteed starter every week for us. So, I have nothing bad to say about Xhaka, and that's pretty rare. So I'll give him a 7.
Okay, my guy Xhaka. Edson.
I'll give him a 7 too. Definitely an improved performance from the past few weeks. A few giveaways, like Tek said, but really, especially when it was winning time. You know what I mean? When we're ahead and we're protecting a lead, he was winning his battles in the midfield. He's collecting fouls, and like you said, really not the hot like. I mean, it's crazy that we're giving. I guess his history is so hot-headed and so red that giving him credit now for not being that way. We actually have to give him credit. So yeah, I mean, 7. Getting better and much improved from the last couple of matches for sure. So
I'm giving him a 7 as well. It's a 7s across the board for him. Like you said, in the beginning of the game, a little bit shaky, kind of like this is the same Xhaka that we have had the last 2 games. Maybe, I don't know if he shouldn't be lacking confidence. I don't know if he's fatigued or what, but as the game grew, he grew into the game as well. So he was, like you said, making tackles, getting involved, keeping the temper at a level where he's not going to get carded. So I'm giving him a 7 as well, because I know he can play better. He has played better. So the newest signing, Mr. Jorginho. I'll start. Just in the beginning of the game, I was just watching him strictly, the movement, getting into position, getting his body in position to make the next pass. He's always thinking a couple of passes ahead.
Yeah.
Great player to keep the play ticking. So for me, I gave him an 8. I thought it was a great performance from him. I've seen nothing but great things since he's come here. And I think, has come to Arsenal. I think our style of play is more fitting to his style than Chelsea was. Chelsea was moving away from, the Tuchel of the passing between the midfielders, and now the Graham Potter's back, and it's more of a we're going to skip the midfield and try to get it as fast as we can up to our forwards. So I think Jorginho got a little bit lost playing there, but he's come in and he's just been fantastic. I know it's a small sample size, but I mean I can't. This is the way he played for Italy in the Euros, so I gave him an 8. Edson.
Yeah, an 8 from me too. Small sample size, but like he's been thrown into the fire. You know what I mean? Like into the lava. You know what I'm saying? And he's looked the part. You know what I mean? He's shrugged off all the pressure. He doesn't look like he's felt a drop of it, to be honest. He had a couple of giveaways today, so maybe not his 9 or 10 performance from the last couple of weeks, but super solid 8. The way he progresses the ball, he's already quarterbacking the situation. He's already quarterbacking Arteta's system. Again, calling Saliba into the play. You see him out there, man. He's just a leader. 12 million, like less than a João Felix loan. What are we talking about?
I remember when they said we're picking up Jorginho, I scratched my head. But again, just like every other piece of business Arteta and Edu and the Cronkies have done, it's a masterstroke.
Well, right? and when they said, "Oh, this is Arteta's guy. This is somebody that Arteta's wanted for a while," I was like, "Okay, I trust this." To the point where Xhaka's had an unbelievable season. And in just these few minutes that he's played with us, I'm already clamoring for Partey and Jorginho. Like, for real?
Yeah, I know.
Incredible. So Jorginho, man, that's an 8, and I almost feel like I'm cheating him with the 8 a little bit, but yeah, that's an 8.
Don't get me wrong, eight's fantastic.
8's still very solid, but I mean, again, just considering like. There's been no transition period. You know what I mean? There's been no betting in. He's just hit the ground running. Unbelievable. And at the most important time in the season, when we've been struggling, you know?
Tek, Mr. Jorginho.
Yeah, I'm going with an 8 too. And I'm just like, I'm trying to think back at all like his crucial moments in the game. Obviously his pass to Saka.
Beautiful.
Like the way he found that and cut it between the two defenders, like that's really why Edu and Arteta brought him in, right? Like it's not so worrisome to have Partey out now with him in the lineup. But the one thing I'm surprised about is his tackling ability. So like at times he's going up for headers where I didn't think he could get that high. Right. Off the ground. So like a solid 8 is fair. I would almost consider a 9 if it weren't for those, few missed passes. But yeah, another solid performance from him. Maybe riding high from the Villa game, but he's fitting in nicely into the squad. So Partey better watch his spot as well, I think.
I like that talk. You better watch your spot. I like that. It's been a long time since we've had that issue where guys need to watch their spot. So it's good it bodes well for us. So we'll move to the front line. Edson, we'll start with you, and we'll talk about our Belgian striker, Leandro Trossard.
When you come to a new team and then they have you playing in probably the most unfamiliar position that you play, up the middle, and again, we don't exactly know how he likes his service just yet, but he potted, like I said, he potted his chance, the one that ended up being the foul on Ben White, and I mean, if that was Neymar, if that was Messi, who did the little step over nutmeg into the assist for the Martinelli goal, our phones would be inundated. You know what I mean? Like it would be all up and down our timeline. That's right. Is nasty. Tech hers, bro. You know what I mean? That's disgusting. And it's like, again, one moment of brilliance to unlock everything. In a 1-0 game away from home, in the midst of a title race. And we look at it now, and City is obviously 2-0 up on Bournemouth, on their way to pummeling them, no doubt.
Yeah,
we needed this. And that moment there. I mean, at the very least, that alone gets him an 8.
Okay, Tech.
Well, he's my man of the match.
Ooh,
So
I like it.
I gotta give him a 9 or 9.5.
A 9, or you have to give him a 9 or a 10.
Let's go with a 9. We'll save the 10s for another time. But I don't know. Let's talk about the disallowed goal first. Like, that thing was a rocket, like buried in the top corner. I don't even care if it was disallowed or not. Like, to put that ball in at that speed on that curl, like,
it's a great goal.
That's one of the reasons why we got him. But to see him play, that center forward role so well too, coming back, tracking on the ball, setting up Martinelli's goal, putting good pressure on the defenders at his size. Like, what more can you want from the guy, right? Like, amazing to think that he only came in January. It seems like he's been here for much longer, but yeah, no, a huge addition to the squad. I think without him there in this team, we would have struggled for a goal. He's another creative player in our team that could create things, right? So my man of the match, I'm giving him a 9.
Okay. I am giving him an 8, a solid 8. I mean, again, for me, 8 is fantastic. 9 and 10, you've gone above and beyond. You're probably the best player of the weekend to get that. But I'm giving him an 8 as well. Key pass for the goal. Very tricky, very, very hard to mark. He won a couple of fouls as well. So I'm giving him an 8. Didn't do anything wrong. Ben White, that goal could have been goal of the weekend, but anyways. So I'm giving him an 8 there as well. We'll go to Martinelli. We'll start with Tech. What are you giving our goal scorer?
I'm going to give Gabby an 8. And the main reason is because how much he picked up his effort since halftime. He didn't have the greatest first half, to be honest. I don't know. He just seemed like he couldn't get his feet or couldn't get past Castagna, their right back, at times. But come second half, he made his key run. He got his goal. So I think that's why it sort of picked up the rating for him. But typical Gabby. He's a dangerous winger. He does, he keeps on the wing. He creates those chances. There's a couple times where he could have got a ball in, but a play by one of their defenders sort of blocked those passes. But I think another solid performance by Gabby. It's been a while too for him. I think he was struggling the past few weeks, so good to see him back on the score sheet. So I'm giving him an 8.
Okay. Tech, Edson?
I'm going to give him an 8 as well. Here's what I'm going to say about Martinelli. It takes 2 men every time he gets the ball, just like Saka, to mark him, right? No wonder they really can't get out on a counter and threaten us. You know what I mean? They got so many guys behind the ball. Whenever one of those guys picks it up on the wing, you see 2 men on them. And then another one kind of gravitating towards, you know what I'm saying? Or like patrolling the area. So, I love that he's managed to find a way. You know what I mean? I love that. I just, I love it. And I loved his performance today for that reason. You know what I mean? Sees so much attention. And to be honest with you, a lot of the attacks were generating down that side of the pitch today. Saka wasn't very busy. It didn't seem, you know what I mean? Like he was kind of a little bit, not to say marked out of the game, but kind of taken out of the game a little bit. So a lot of action for Martinelli, and between Keys, Zinchenko, Trossard, Xhaka on that side, they kept things ticking. You know what I mean? Like and maintained a lot of possession. We had a lot of possession in the ball game, and again, they didn't get out and counter on us, and that's because they got to have another guy behind the ball. They have to have one more guy behind the ball there. That's how they can't get out. So he's a menace, and glad he's on our side.
Well, Thomas Frank, Brentford coach, mentioned in preparation to play Arsenal that one of the game plans is to double team our wingers. So
everyone's doing it.
Everyone's going to do that now that they've seen that Brentford put that game plan into effect, and practically our wingers weren't anywhere to be seen, and it's Martinelli and Saka, right? Probably two best wingers in the league. So. So that's probably part of the reason why. And you can see when he scored, he was 1-on-1. So there's something there. I'm giving him a 9, and I'm giving him a 9 before the goal, because that goal is very easy to miss. He was under pressure, kind of had to even slide to put it in. It was a calm, cool finish in the bottom corner, opposite post. Very easy to miss. And from what we're seeing now in the game against Bournemouth with Man City, very important goal too. So for that reason, I'm giving him a 9. During the game, it might have been an 8 performance, but just by what Man City is doing now, that goal is super important for us. So I'm giving him a 9 for that performance. We'll move to Saka. I'll start. I'm giving Saka a 7. Again, did what he could. Getting kicked and hit as usual. It goes with the game when you're playing against Saka. Scored a goal that was disallowed for I don't know if that was offside either, but whatever, from Martinelli. But just a solid 7 performance. Came back and defended as well. Got forward with the ball. Didn't really have much of an impact up there, so I'm giving him a 7. Tech.
I think 7 is fair for Saka today. They marked him well. He didn't get his usual solid chances. There were a couple shots that he had. They weren't on target, but I think good chances nonetheless. Again, gets their team sort of focused on him, creates other spaces and openings for us. So I think for that reason, he gets a pretty solid 7 rating. The one thing with Saka, though, I think I was reading a quote, some of the advice that Thierry was giving him, big players aren't nice. He's living up to that quote right now. I don't know. There were a couple moments in the game where he sort of bodied Christensen after a few hard tackles, and we need that, right? We're a young squad. I don't think we can let teams push us around. So to see him, sort of push back and stick up for himself at 21 years old, it's nice to see, man. And he's a small guy. Like, he's small, but he's muscling guys. He's bodying guys. So, I think a solid 7 for Saka today for me.
I saw that in the game, and I was sitting here watching it again. And I was like, good for you, man. Just leave it on one of these guys, because they're giving it to you. Leave something on them as well. So I saw that, and I like that too.
Did he come up with a yellow card at all today, by the way?
I don't think so. He kicked the ball away after it went out for a throw-in, but I don't think the referee gave him a card. The referee was horrendous today, but anyways, you can say that every week. Edson.
Yeah, he's not looking like an academy player. He hasn't been an academy player for a long time. You know what I mean? He's really manning up. It was a lot of that last week with Douglas Luiz, as we'd mentioned on the cast. Yeah. Him really being prickly, and he's doing the things that pros do now. He's being crafty, and he's being, he's just maturing, and we're seeing it in his performances. So a mature 7 today. The one thing I do want to mention is, and you mentioned his name, their left back, Christensen.
Yeah.
I was extremely impressed with him. Extremely impressed with him. So good. They got a player there, and I think they mentioned it pre-broadcast. Anyways, they brought in a couple of signings, and I think it was this past window. I think he was one of them. Whenever they signed him, excellent signing, really top notch. So, and there goes 3 for City.
Oh, it's 3-0 now.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
Well, we're gonna have to win this league outright because if it goes down to a goal differential, it's not gonna be pretty.
Yeah, 7.
Okay, so those are the starters. Let's move to the subs. I don't know if we're gonna have many high ratings for anybody. I don't know if anybody got enough time to give a rating. But Tomiyasu, I mean, I got to give him a 5. He didn't really have that much time to do anything. 5 across the board. We're good with that.
Yeah, 5 for Tomiyasu. Sure. I mean,
okay. Eddie Nketiah came on with, I guess, some time to.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Yeah, 20 minutes.
I give Eddie a 6 because at that point what we needed was hold up, time wasting, a little bit of energy up the top of the press, and he gave us that. So
there was one ball that he brought down out of the air, where it was just like, I don't know what happened to Eddie, but he was not doing that stuff before.
But then he gave it away.
Yeah,
so,
then he went back to his old self. A 6 is fair. He didn't really.
I'm giving him a 5.
Yeah.
When Trossard is doing what he's doing, you have to step up. I know he only had 20 minutes, but it has to be an all action 20 minutes for me. But yeah. I gave him a 5. And Thomas Partey came in and the final 10 minutes. I mean, again,
I was surprised to see him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I thought Vieira would get in before him, but you're trying to lock the game down like
Rob Holding when we're shutting it down, or a Kieran Tierney, or who. But it's good though because I mean it means that he is healthy enough where we didn't have to baby him, and he wasn't just on the bench just in case of emergency. So yeah, get him a few minutes going into the week here. That's fine. But the performance was, again, 5, 6, not enough.
I gave him a 5. I mean, he didn't really have an imprint on the game at all. Just a standard 5. How about you, Tek?
Yeah, I think a 5 is fair. Nothing to complain about. He did look a bit tired for only playing 10 minutes, to be honest. So I don't know. Maybe he hasn't gotten much at training. So I think a 5 is fair. So did they confirm exactly why Partey was out? Is it an injury? Like, have they mentioned?
I assumed it was. That I'm not sure if Edson heard anything.
Okay. No. I think it was probably still the rib. I'm guessing
the rib, right?
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't hear anything that what it could have been. There's speculations about court cases and stuff like that, but I don't know. So I'm assuming it's the rib. Who knows? And let's give a rating to the manager, Mr. Mikel Arteta. The lineup, the substitutions, the tactics. What are we giving him? We'll start with Tek.
I'm giving Super Mick a 9 today.
Oh, wow, okay.
He changed the lineup. He got guys to produce in positions that are not normally their positions. Mm-hmm. The team looked fresh today, coming off a tough Villa game. He's I don't know if he's reading into all the media complaints or all the other coaches' complaints about his antics on the sideline, but he seems a lot more composed and chill on the sideline these days. So I guess that's good. I don't know. I feed off his energy, to be honest, when he's complaining about calls or complaining about this or that. And at one point they panned to him and he was talking to the fourth ref and they were joking about something too. So I don't know. Seems like he's in their good books too. So I think a solid solid performance from the manager. So 9 for me.
Edson?
Yeah, I think that especially in a road game like this, his calm kind of translated to the players a little bit. Maybe frantic energy might not have transmitted the same way. Uh, made the right call at right back. Trossard with a moment of brilliance up front, trusting him to be able to play in that role. Um, yeah, we couldn't really unlock Saka all day, to be honest with you. Maybe one of the few knocks against the manager today. Everything else really came off for him. Um, uh, I'm going to give him a super strong 8, and also just for having Jorginho as your guy and not spending 90 million or whatever it would have taken to get Caicedo, who we don't know how quickly he would have been able to adapt to this system.
He wouldn't play that role.
But I'm saying he would be the other midfielder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And who knows?
I agree with you. Yes, yeah.
Who knows how quickly he'd be able to adapt? So, like, good on him for knowing which was his guy. And some people would say that we were settling. No, you know what I mean? As it turns out, it's the exact fit that we needed. And Chelsea fans are punching the air. Okay. Every time they see us collect 3 points with that guy in our side, I mean, could you imagine being a Chelsea fan and watching last week? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? Like,
did Chelsea lose last week? Are they tied?
They did.
They lost?
1-0. They lost against Southampton.
Southampton, that's right. Yeah. So imagine for a second seeing what's driving our late in the season title push right now, and who's collecting 8s and 9s on a weekly basis. We didn't imagine it was going to go. Not say we, because I actually thought that this was a great pickup, but a lot of the fan base didn't imagine that this is how it would go. And so
I did.
So kudos to Mikel Arteta for knowing better and turning this thing around. The ship was sinking there for a while. We were taking on water, and he's gotten it right to turn it around and to stop the bleeding. And we're top of the league, man, with a game in hand coming up. So.
Well, I mean, I think as fans of this, especially Arsenal fans this season, we're a little bit spoiled with what we were seeing, and any hiccup is the sky's falling. So, I mean, every team's going to go through a patch where they draw a game they should have won, they lose a game they should have won. Every team's going to go through that, even City, right? So, I mean, that was our hopefully that was our one and only patch this season, and we keep the thing rolling. I gave Arteta an 8 as well. I mean, the lineup was, we've been calling for Trossard to start. He started him. I'm not saying it was our suggestion, but he changed up the lineup like Tek said, and I'm giving him a solid 8 as well. So well done. So if we add up all the ratings that we gave each player, we have one man of the match, and that's Gabriel Magalhaes at the back. That was Edson's highest rating. Tek's highest rating was a 9 and went to 3 players: Trossard, Gabriel, and Zinchenko. My highest was a 9, which went to Zinchenko and Gabriel Magalhaes as well, and Martinelli. So, but the man of the match, Clock Enders podcast man of the match for the game against Leicester City today was Gabriel at the back. So I guess congratulations. He was excellent today. We have our game in hand coming up Wednesday against Everton, 2:45, I believe. That game's at the Emirates. That's at the Emirates. So hopefully we get a better result from the time that we went to Goodison Park. Any final words, guys, at all?
I think what is it? Three out of the next 4 at the Emirates, if I'm not mistaken, in the league. So we need to collect all these points, basically. Yeah. We need to collect all these points, basically, and keep it rolling, man. I mean, it's Everton, right? Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we owe them. You know,
We owe them.
champions win that game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we need to win that game. And that's it.
That's it.
Payback's a bitch.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see that. Every time we play Everton, just for Ben Godfrey stepping up, I'm still pissed off about that. I'm still pissed off.
Miyasu. I'll never forget that. And
I want to see them relegated for that.
100%. And you know what? I think a great goal to have for this season is also no loss unavenged.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that we should be hungry for this one. And I think that the players will be hungry for it, and I hope the fans are too, because it's not so long ago where we shouldn't, where it shouldn't be fresh in the back of our minds or on the top of our minds for that matter.
Definitely. Well, Tek, thanks for joining us, man. It's a long time.
Yes,
You're welcome back anytime. Just let us know when you wanna join. Not an issue. Nick everyone hates Nick was working today. That's why he couldn't be with us. But hopefully maybe one day we can get all four of us in here. So it was great to have you, Tek. Guys, what a way to start your Saturday. I know it's a little bit late. There's a couple of games going on right now that I'm going to turn on and watch. There's a Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid derby going on as well. TFC starts tonight. There's a whole slate of football on tonight. So, guys, enjoy your Saturday, enjoy your weekend, and we'll catch you for the reaction show, Everton and Arsenal.